So, with the growth of automation in the workplace often being cited as the next industrial revolution, what role do you see the creative arts playing in the future economy?
The first thing to do is provide a bit of context. The creative industries, which is how we refer to it more than creative arts, is of course worth £92 billion to the UK economy. So it's an absolutely huge sector and it's growing very, very quickly. So anybody considering coming into it is joining a very healthy, projected to grow even further sector. What the importance of is the creative thinking is needed not only in the creative industries in their own right, but in almost every other sector. So we believe that bringing creativity into quite diverse sectors like space, aerospace, marine tech, agri-tech is actually part of the creative industry's future and therefore makes it even more secure. And then the final thing is creativity in the age of automation is the skill that is least likely to be automated because it's very difficult to automate creativity. So therefore, as other things will be done by robots, this is less and less likely to be because it's full of invention, innovation, etc. So it's a very rosy picture.
Yeah, no, I can see that totally with the kind of synergies between embedding it with different sectors.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the largest proportion of the creative industries is actually creatives working with other sectors. So they're in what is called the creative economy rather than just the creative industries or the creative arts. And that therefore means it creates opportunity within opportunity. And the single most important qualities that are required from creatives who do not have to come from a traditional creative background to study creative subjects at university is curiosity, invention, innovation, ability to work in complex transdisciplinary teams, and that's the kind of environment we try to create for our students here.
Yeah. So obviously I've followed the kind of amazing transformation of Falmouth over the past few years, and the students have had very sort of interesting, diverse experiences. Could you tell me a bit more about how Falmouth manages to provide such a unique student experience and what are the plans for the future?
Okay, the first thing we try to do is live by our strapline, which is doing it for real. And that means that we expose our students to staff and to facilities and resources and contacts which are really embedded in the industry. So therefore, they're often taking part in real life challenges, they're doing real life projects, they're actually in their industry whilst they are students. On top of that, we have developed here a whole approach to embedding entrepreneurship inside the curriculum. So instead of students waiting until they graduate to set a company up, we have developed a programme called Launchpad, which we're now using to influence all our curriculum, where students build their own creative digital company whilst they're students and they're supported, and setting up a company becomes their learning vehicle. So they not only get a great learning experience, but they're already projecting themselves into their own employment in the future, and in some cases going and working in companies where that experience is invaluable, multinational companies.
Yeah, I mean obviously that's a really unique experience for a student, and very different to lots of other programmes I've seen.
It's probably unique in the UK, in a UK university. It's something which makes sense because, of course, why delay supporting the student to find a way to, set up their own business? Or why delay teaching them how to work in teams? Because not very many of us, when we graduate, go and work on our own. So it's an important skill. Why delay in helping them understand how they can attract industry investment into whatever they are doing? So all those skills are taught to them whilst they're doing it for real. And they're able to, if you like, learn quickly because it's needs-based learning. They really need to know it because they're actually doing it for real at that point.
Yeah.
So we find they progress unbelievably quickly. And there's a lot of interest in them from outside bodies, from investors, from people who want to help them get space to grow on into so that they can actually stay in the region because they're an asset to the region. So we love our Cornish students and we love them to stay, but we also love the students who come in from outside and who also want to stay, and there's lots of people working to support them to be able to do that and build a creative cluster here in this county, but also, you know, to assist in the growth of the whole UK creative economy.
Yeah, really important and, you know, really different. And that's open to EU students. It
is. I mean, we have versions of it running in other parts of the university which are open to international students as well.
Yeah, brilliant. And finally, could you provide any advice to prospective students looking to study a degree in arts?
Well, again, I would ask them to look at the sort of word in the widest sense, which is creativity, rather than just the arts, because obviously there's creative design, there's creative arts, there's creative performance, etc. So it's a huge sector. So sometimes people imagine that, you know, if you're going to study that sort of qualification, you're going to be the artist or the director or the illustrator. The really important thing to explain is those roles exist and they are right for some people, but there's a plethora of roles. So if I use the example, just one example of a live performance, think of all the roles that exist that are called jobs in the creative industry. So obviously you've got the performers, the musicians, but you will also have the set designers, costume designers, you will have production assistants, you may well have camera people, sound, you'll have producers. There's so many roles, and those are all really valuable things in the creative industry. So somebody who's thinking of it should understand the opportunities are very wide, but the funnel into studying can be very wide. We have lots of students who do not have any arts qualification before they come here. They may have studied maths, they may have studied English, they may have studied history, but they're clever, curious, quick learners who want to be part of a sector and not necessarily just the auteur. And the creative industry's got a place for everybody, and lifelong careers as well. And also, they can work globally because creative industries is a global sector. So, lots and lots of opportunity.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, I get a range of inquiries from students that kind of touch on exactly what you described. They may have sort of changed their mind and decided that they really sort of are passionate in pursuing sort of that career. And, you know, it's great to hear that there are opportunities out there.
Well, it's a bit of a message that I'm really keen to get out, that it's almost like we want a whole wide range of people to consider creative subjects at degree level, and often they don't understand that they can study in this context because they don't realise how wide the creative industries is. Nor do they understand how buoyant it is. So, you know, if people like yourself can help open the funnel and say, you don't have to be able to draw, you do not have to be able to draw to be in the creative industries, you just have to be able to think.
No, great.
Just ideas is everything.
So
we can come from anywhere.